You've been somewhere before. You know this place. You know what's about to happen. You know what someone is about to say before they say it, and then it's gone. It lasts maybe 2 or 3 seconds, and you're left with this strange, unsettling feeling that your brain just did something it shouldn't be able to do. That's déjà vu. And it's one of the weirdest experiences the human mind produces. Because what you're feeling isn't a memory. It's the feeling of having a memory. The sensation of recognition without anything to actually recognize. Almost everyone gets it. Studies suggest around 70% of people experience it at some point. It happens more when you're tired, when you're stressed, when you're traveling. It happens more to young people than old people. And it almost always lasts less than 5 seconds. So what is actually going on in there? Let's start with what we know it isn't. For a long time, déjà vu was explained as a glitch in memory retrieval. The idea was that your brain processes a new experience twice. Once very slightly before you're conscious of it, and again when you become aware of it. The second time feels like a memory because there's already a trace of it from a fraction of a second earlier. That's called the dual processing theory. And it sounds reasonable, but it probably isn't the full story. The more convincing explanation comes from the neuroscience, specifically from what happens when the memory system misfires. Your brain has 2 separate processes running whenever you encounter something new. One process checks whether the thing is familiar. The other process retrieves the actual memory of where you know it from. Normally, these 2 systems work together. You see a face, familiarity fires, memory retrieves who the person is. Done. But sometimes, just for a moment, familiarity fires without memory retrieval catching up. Your brain signals that something is known, but it can't find the file to prove it. And that gap, that moment where something feels recognized but can't be explained, that's déjà vu. It's a false positive from your familiarity and detection system. And there's strong evidence for this. People with certain types of epilepsy, particularly against temporal lobe epilepsy, experience intense, prolonged déjà vu as part of their seizures. The temporal lobe is the part of the brain that handles memory and familiarity. When it misfires, it produces exactly the sensation, but stronger, longer, and sometimes frightening. Neurosurgeon Wilder Penfield discovered this in the 1950s. He was performing open brain surgery on epileptic patients and electrically stimulating different parts of their brains. When he stimulated the temporal lobe, patients suddenly reported vivid feelings of having experienced something before. One patient said, "I feel like I'm living through something that has already happened." Another said it felt like a dream they had forgotten. The electrode was creating déjà vu on demand. This told us something important. Déjà vu isn't mystical. It's mechanical. It's what happens when the brain's memory and familiarity systems get briefly out of sync. Here's another angle that makes this even more interesting. Researchers have found that déjà vu can be triggered in healthy people using hypnosis. In one study, subjects were hypnotized and shown an object they had supposedly never seen before. When they encountered it later, they felt strong familiarity. But the hypnotist had blocked the actual memory. The subjects couldn't explain why the thing felt known. They just felt certain that it did. That feeling was déjà vu, engineered in a lab. There's also a visual component that researchers have been studying. Some scientists think déjà vu gets triggered when a new scene contains the same spatial layout as something you've seen before, even if the specific details are completely different. Think about it this way. You've seen thousands of rooms, thousands of streets, thousands of corridors. Most of them share similar proportions, similar angles, similar arrangements. If a new place has the same geometric skeleton and is something stored somewhere deep in your memory, your brain might pattern match the shape and generate that vague sense of recognition. Even though the surfaces, colors, and objects are entirely different, it's not that you've been there. It's that your brain has seen that shape before. That might explain why a déjà vu tends to happen in ordinary places, hallways, dining rooms, streets, gardens, not usually in unusual or extreme environments. The more a new environment resembles the average of many stored environments, the more likely your brain is to generate a false hit. Now, there's a version of déjà vu that goes even further. It's called Deja vécu, which means already lived. And it's different from regular déjà vu in an important way. Normal déjà vu is brief and vague, a moment of weird familiarity. Deja vécu is immersive. People who experience it feel absolutely certain they have lived through this exact moment before. They know what's about to be said. They know what's about to happen, and they feel no uncertainty about it at all. Which is itself deeply strange, because déjà vu, by definition, should feel uncertain. Déjà vécu is associated with temporal lobe epilepsy and with certain forms of dementia. In some dementia patients, it becomes persistent. They watch the same television program and insist they have never seen it. They read the same newspaper and find it new each time, but simultaneously they have this overwhelming feeling that every moment has already happened. Their brain has lost the ability to form new memories, but the familiarity system is still firing on everything. The two systems have completely uncoupled. That's a strange and unsettling window into what déjà vu actually is. It's not a spiritual experience. It's not a sign of a past life. It's your brain's memory architecture misfiring, for just a second, in a very specific and interesting way. And here's the thing that makes this more fascinating, not less. The fact that your brain has separate systems for familiarity and recall, and that these two things are not the same operation, is genuinely remarkable. Most people assume memory is one thing. You either remember something, or you don't. But it's not. Familiarity is its own signal. Recognition is its own process. And they can come apart. Déjà vu is what it looks like when they do. There are still open questions. We don't have a complete model that explains every case. We don't fully understand why young people get it more than older people. Though some researchers think older brains are better at suppressing false familiarity signals, we don't know exactly why tiredness and stress increase it. One theory is that a fatigued brain processes incoming information more slowly, creating a larger gap between the two systems. Enough of a gap to feel like a memory. What we do know is that it's almost certainly a good sign when it happens to you. Déjà vu in healthy people is associated with a brain that is actively error checking. The fact that you notice something feels wrong, the fact that you think this can't be a real memory, means the system is working. Your brain is flagging the false signal rather than accepting it. In people where the error checking fails, déjà vu stops from being a passing curiosity and becomes something far stranger. So next time it happens, next time the world goes slightly sideways for 2 seconds, and you feel certain you've been here before, that's your familiarity system misfiring. Your brain pattern matching a shape it thinks it's seen. Your memory and your recognition briefly out of sync. It's not a past life. It's not a premonition. It's not a glitch in the simulation. It's just your brain doing something very fast, very complex, and occasionally very wrong. In the most fascinating way possible. Subscribe. There's so much more where this came from.